What's up, YouTube? Trying to figure out my Red Pill brothers. What's up? Trying to figure out my phone here because the microphone's a little weird, but nobody wants to hear that as an intro. But here we are. Anyway, I want to talk about current events. This is probably not going to be brief, but I'm just gonna jump right into it a little bit. Insane stuff has been going on. Unfortunately, everything is escalating, ramping up as far as left versus right, as far as a lot of exposure. I'm really amazed at how much exposure is out there now. I mean, it's all coming to a head. It's all coming to a pinnacle, in my view. It just can't survive. It can't go on the way it has, and it's been a corrupt system. I'm talking about politics. I'm talking about geopolitics, right? The world situation, right? International, culture, international feeling, international fervor. It's all shifting right now. People are turning against Israel. People are really looking at America with a raised eyebrow, even more than they already always did. Particularly when it comes to Israel, because we're just the victim of these parasites. Honestly, we're just, we've been infiltrated. It's been going on for probably since the early 1900s. As far as the actual implementation of their plan was hatched probably in the mid 1800s, I think, if you go back and you study the Khazars and the Rothschilds and all that. Then you got to link that up with the cabal, which includes the Catholic Church, the royal family, the Freemasons, the Skull and Bones, all that crap. It's all part of the same evil crap. It's all part of the same evil Illuminati crap, right? These are the people who are using Zionism, are using, these ideologies, communism, socialism. They're employing all these ideologies to cause chaos. If you look at the crest of Freemasonry, the Freemason crest, it's a two-headed eagle, and the words in Latin, I forget the Latin, but it's order out of chaos, or from chaos comes order. And that's how that's their mantra, that's their crest, that's what they believe in. So that's their thing. They create conflicts, and then they come in and, consolidate their power by, creating a sort of phony order or whatever. And it's just like, it's this sick game that the occult plays, the elites play, and it's just sick, man, the more you learn about it. But what's crazy is that, like, there's all these levels to this. There's all these tiers, I guess you could say, or there's just these layers to this. It's like, it's so layered that it confuses people, and people get really caught up in, like, say, left versus right, or Democrat versus Republican, or communist versus capitalist. They're very caught up in this kind of infighting between these spectrums. But again, these are two different sides of the same spectrum. It's all the same crap put out by the same people. It's order out of chaos. It's the same with, like, the Crips and the Bloods. Like, why is there only two sides? Because it's divisive. It's meant to be divisive. That's the point. It's supposed to be divisive so that you can keep people in a state of not being united. When people are united, they're strong and they're dangerous. What did they do when the Black Panthers came in, in Compton in the 1970s, when the Black Panthers were marching and fighting back against the police who were brutalizing them because they were black? Well, they came in and they infiltrated that system, or I should say that group, the Black Panther group, and they created schisms, and they created these gangs. So the Bloods and the Crips came out of the Black Panthers because the Black Panthers were infiltrated you know, and turned against each other. And so they started killing each other instead of uniting and helping, continuing to help their, their people, their race. So these people who are doing these things are extremely, powerful, extremely adept, extremely shrewd. They know what they're doing. They're 10 steps ahead of everybody else most of the time. Of course, if something gets, the Bible says all things done in the dark will come to the light. So truth just has a way of bubbling up to the surface. And that's what we're seeing right now because of the internet. And they're trying to stop the internet. You got Israel buying TikTok, and they're making a show out of it. And that's how crazy this is. That's how insane this is it's right in front of everybody's faces. And they're blatantly mocking everybody. They're like, haha, we know you know, but there's nothing you can do about it. We're going to continue this lie because even though even though there's many people who know, we still think there's more people who don't know or whatever. I mean, they're just at this place where it's like they can't keep up this charade any longer. And it's a combination of, I think, arrogance, because evil people tend to get very arrogant and they tend to think that they can't be stopped until it's too late. But it's a combination of arrogance, and it's also they want this to happen. It plays into their goal, which is insane. It's absolutely insane that they think, and this is how twisted and evil these people are, and just stupid. It's not smart. Like, it's just dumb. But it's a temporary power. It's a temporary glutton for power kind of thing. Like, you get so when you just do so much evil, you go off the deep end. You can't stop. You think you're unstoppable. You think you're a monster, and nobody can stop you because I'm this big monster. And it's like, so you just become overcome with, anyway, right? So that's what I'm seeing from Israel, right? Netanyahu, I hate even saying that guy's name. Hate looking at him. He's just pure scum. As scum as it gets is that guy. I mean, it doesn't get scummier. Like, I'll take Al Capone over that guy, right? It's sick. It's sick. It's so fucked up. Anyway, so he doesn't think it's, I don't know what he thinks. It's like, dude, you're going to hell. Like, I don't know what else. I don't know what to say, but like, how can you be so evil and so stupid? Because it's like, but again, it plays into their view. And it's like, when you don't read the Bible and you've lived your whole life being evil and you're unregenerated, you don't have any morals, you've only been taught how to be shrewd and, be a Machiavellian type character, and you've been bred your whole life to be evil and be powerful and evil. You don't think there's going to be consequences. It's weird. It's just, and it's like, it's common. You see it in Puff Daddy, you see it in Trump, you see it in these evil people who don't think they're going to get caught, who don't think there's any consequence. It's like, and I think that's the problem, is they don't think. They're not thinking it through. They're not like, wait a minute, I'm on the wrong side here. Like that, they don't have that moral capacity. I don't think it's in them. The Bible says that there's something evil that is within Satan that was not there from the beginning. I think it's John 8:44, something like that. It talks about how Satan, there's something evil in Satan that was not there from his creation. When God created him, it wasn't there, but it got there after he rebelled. So God gave him the free will to rebel. Then he rebelled, and then he became evil because he rebelled. So that his evil and his perniciousness was not there before he became Satan, when he was just Lucifer, right? If you know the story of the Bible, then you know what I'm talking about. But I say all that to say that these people don't know their end, right? Because they don't have God. They don't have Jesus. They don't have the Bible. They don't read the Bible. If they read the Bible, they might have light and they might be, be able to be saved, but they're not. And I don't think that's their destiny. Their destiny is to be these evil pieces of crap. Anyways, they are so dumb that they think that their Antichrist is going to come and they're going to rule. And it's totally irrational, right? It's almost like a mirror of the Bible. I've thought about this for many years, how Satan copies God. He copies things God does. Like, God has a church, well, Satan needs a church, right? God does this, Satan does that. God chooses disciples, Satan chooses disciples. God gives power to his followers, Satan gives power to his followers. It's this weird kind of copy game that Satan has always done. And it's almost like reverse engineering, where they're trying to bring the Antichrist forth, and Christians want the Antichrist. Some Christians, I'm a Christian, I don't, because it's a little psychotic to want the world to end. Even though there's been times where I'm like, man, this world sucks, this life sucks, everything's shitty, people are suffering, it needs to end. And I think ultimately, yes, that's the answer, is that yes, it needs to end because it's all shitty. But I mean, it's not all shitty. Like, some people are doing okay, but like, there's oppression out here, man. There's oppression in these streets. There's suffering in these streets. People are enslaved to money. They're enslaved to their sins. I mean, God needs to come back. I get that. At the same time, it's like, hey, what about me? I want to live a good life. I want to enjoy things. I don't want to die tomorrow. Like, I don't want to die next week. I don't want the world to end in a month, right? But that's the type of thinking that some people have. But I guess in a way it's not too bad, because, they believe it's going to end the suffering. But, it's a little psychotic to want the world to end, but I understand it. But they both want this Armageddon to come, or they both want the Antichrist to come, the occults, because they view him as their leader. And he really will be, and that's in the Bible, that's prophesied, and we're heading to that, because it's all the signs, everything in the Bible. Israel went back 1948. It says in the last days the culture will be like Sodom and Gomorrah. We're definitely living in those times where it's all degenerate immorality. It also says, the Bible also says, that the last days will be like, the days of Noah, right? What happened in the days of Noah? There was widespread violence. There was, fear of being in the streets. Like, that's what we're living in right now, right? So these people, these elites who are socially engineering behind the scenes, who are funding Antifa, who are, funding these drag queen shows, who are funding the professors, the communist professors, these people who are playing both sides, right? And that's kind of what I want to talk about, is that second layer, right? So there's that obvious layer where it's like Israel's parasitic, Zionism is this evil part of the cabal, where it's all these evil Khazars who came over from Kazakhstan or whatever, and they're linked to the Rothschilds or whatever, and they all own the banks, and it's like, there's that, but then there's also like that other layer where like there's left versus right politics. We're not united. We're fighting, we're fighting each other as opposed to like fighting them. And to me, that's just wild. It's like, when we're watching it happen, we're watching it happen in real life. And it's like, when you understand who's doing it, it all makes sense, and why, right? Why did feminism become so popular? Why did socialism, communism, and capitalism all become so popular at the same time, right? Because these things are tools to destabilize solid, family relationships, solid marriages, solid cultural values. Like, that's what they're aiming at. These people behind the scenes who are pulling the strings, who are implementing these ideologies, these subversive ideologies, that's their goal. They want us to fight each other. They want us to go out and be promiscuous and not get married and have a stable family. They want that. And it's not only because they're evil, but it's because they have this plan. They have a plan to take over. The New World Order is real. Like that, it's what they want to do. Like, Reagan stood up there and said it. Bush Sr. said it. Like, all the presidents have said it. They use the terms. It's weird. It's like it's like in a movie when the movie when somebody in the movie in the dialogue says the name of the movie, right? That's kind of what it's like. It's so weird. It's really weird. But they want to implement this destabilization, this destruction, because it's order out of chaos, right? They want this new world order. And the presidents say it. They say, oh, we need a new world order. And they'll use that term, new world order. And it's creepy. And it's like they're trying to bring this about. They have these occult ritual ways of planning things 10 steps ahead, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. Let's do this in 5 years. Let's do. I mean, these people are engineers of society in more ways than one. They implement toxins in our foods. They encourage abortion. They encourage eugenics and all the shit they do through the vaccines, the shit that they put in our water, fluoride, all the stuff that's messing with our hormones, hormone disruptors, plastics, in our foods. I mean, just the list goes on and on and on, Not to mention the wars that they're doing, I don't believe for a second that these wars are organic. I think they're manufactured. The Muslim thing is real. That's a conspiracy too. You could go back. I believe the Quran is a counterfeit. I believe it was written I read somewhere that it was written by a Catholic priest, which totally makes sense. But, Islam is what it is. I don't, I think they're just a tool, they're being used by Israel. They're being used by the Zionists to, war is profitable. War is profitable. The people who started the First and Second World Wars profited greatly. War is profitable, but it's also powerful. It's powerful because you can control things, you can take over. They want those central banks, man. They want the control of the money supply. Who is it? One of the Rothschilds said, I don't care what puppet sits on the throne. The person who controls the money controls the country. Something like that. This is deep stuff, man. This is about control. This is Machiavellian. This is evil. This is occult. It's satanic. All of those things rolled into one. I mean, these people are evil to their core, to their fibers, to their very cells. They are literally Viper's children. They are Satan's children, 100%. Like, there's some people who are just pure evil. Like, they look normal. They talk maybe kind of normal. That they're sociopaths pretend like they're your friend and blah blah blah. These people, you can just see right through them in a way. I mean, like, the more you unplug from the Matrix, the more you notice how sick and deranged the Matrix actually is. The more you become free in your mind and your spirit, the more closer you get to God, the more righteous you become, in the sense that you're not engaging in evil things, because that corrupts your soul, it corrupts your mind. It's difficult to have a clear mind and see the truth when you're corrupted, or when you're too busy because you're slaving away at a job, or because you watch hours of TV and play video games all day. It's very difficult to have a pure vessel when you do those things. But these things are put out there in our sphere, in our in our grasp so that we will buy in. It's satanic. This is what Satan does. He occupies people's time, he occupies people's minds, and eventually he occupies their will, right? Through sin, through habits, porn, video games, alcohol, weed, hard drugs, idolatry. Say you have, I love cars, right? I have all these model cars and I love cars. It's like, that's idolatry. It might not seem like it, right? But what is the purest definition of idolatry? It's anything that replaces God, right? Anything that replaces God is an idol. So if you have, so much time in your day, right? And you spend all your time with this hobby, like, oh, I love cars, or just chasing cars, like, that's an idol. It's usurped your time that you could have spent with God, or time you could have went and helped somebody, or done something righteous. The Bible says faith shouldn't be, our Christian walk shouldn't be based on faith alone. Faith without works is dead. Like, we need the faith, but we also need the works, right? And the works come out of the faith, right? The closer we get to God, the more we'll be able to do things through him, right? Do things, live him out, right? Live him out in our daily life. It's difficult to do, man. It's easier said than done, and there's so many distractions, and Satan comes in, he tries to distract us with this or that, or get us caught up in sin or this or that, So much in life is just playing defense. So much in life is just playing defense. Don't overlook that. The fact that there's always stuff that comes eventually to tempt us. And it's very subtle, right? Oh, look at this sexy girl, or oh, look at that cool movie, or oh, this artist who I used to really love, put out a new album, and I should go buy it. I really want to go buy that album. Or like, oh, look at these cool pairs of shoes. Like, these are just little things that you don't think are Satan's hiding behind those little things, but it gets you off. It's like, I want to go buy this shoe, or I want to go buy this video game, or I want to go do, but like, is Jesus doing that? Probably not. Right? So you're distracted on the one hand. On the other hand, you're occupied with something that is taking up the time that you could have been spending with God, or reading the Bible, or done something worthwhile, like helping somebody, or learning a hobby, or like taking care of your health, exercising. Like, this is the world we live in, where kids are so damaged because of their food, toxins in their food, stuff that's in their water, and things that distract them, like video games and all the stuff, right? That's what the Matrix is. That's what the satanic system is. I've talked about this before a lot, but that's what it is. It's set up to keep you from going to God, period. That's all it is. Like, it's just set up as a distraction. Everything, even finances and money and concerned about how you're going to make your living and all these things. These are traps and tools to keep you, from really going to God, and to keep you from learning the truth. This is why they have sports ball games every other day. This is why there's a new Super Bowl or World Series or championship or this or that. This celebrity, it's constant input. It's constant, dopamine hit. This, that, this. Why? Because you're distracted. You're distracted, right? That's the main thing. That's the main tactic. Get you distracted so he can get you off course, and so you can be used as a tool, right? And it's the same with politics or all this stuff, all the stuff that's happening in the current events. It's, on the one hand, people are waking up. On the other hand, people are getting worse, and they're getting more distracted, and they're getting more violent, and they're getting more immoral, and they're getting more degenerate. And that's what the Bible says is going to happen. These things are going to increase. The Bible says that, and I hope it doesn't. It won't get too bad before God has to step in, but It's going to get bad. I don't know how bad it's going to get, but it's going to get bad. We're already seeing it. We're already seeing riots. We're seeing war, culture wars. We're seeing fights. The whole Democrat Republican stuff is one big setup. It's one big setup. Both sides, the Republicans and the Democrats. It's a divisive tool. It's not about united we stand. It's about, I hope my guy gets in, screw the other side, and it's gotten real bad, real escalated, right? So, which I find fascinating in the sense that, in the sense that it's not organic, in the sense that it's engineered. That's why I find it fascinating. Is like they're really doing this. They're really going for it, and it's scary because we're getting there. Israel is about to build that third temple, but they're also genociding over there in Gaza, and it's very popular, known fact now. People are going bonkers over it. At least, I don't know if they're going bonkers, but at the very least, they're shocked, and I think a lot of people are starting to wake up, and they're like, wait a minute, what's really going on here? This doesn't add up, and I think people are scared, and I think people are... And I hope people turn to God. I pray that people turn to God. That's a good prayer. Pray that people turn to God amongst these hard times. Because that's our deepest need. That's what people need. They need God, 100%. People need Jesus. They need salvation. They need the Spirit. They need the washing with the blood. They need reconciliation to God through the cross, right? These are all steps and processes that we can get, that we go to where we can get in a good place with God. Anyway, man, it really is a trip. It really is a trip, and it's escalating, and I'm sorry for it. I've wrestled with this before, and it's like, nah, man, I don't want the world to end, But on the other hand, maybe I do, Maybe what's coming after is going to be a lot better, and maybe we're not going to remember much, Maybe we're just going to be like, you know what, this heaven is so good, even though heaven is not a real concept in the Bible. It's actually the new heaven and the new earth is what the Bible calls it. So people won't be in heaven floating around on a cloud playing a harp. That's nonsense. The Bible never says any of that stuff. What it actually says is that we're going to be living on earth, a new restored earth. That's what the Bible actually says. So, when I say heaven, that's what I mean. It's going to be a lot better. The new earth that's restored, and there's not going to be any more sin. Satan's going to be kicked off. I'm looking forward to it, man. I think I'm getting to the point where I'm really looking forward to it, because I'm just getting sick of this stuff, man. Every time I turn on social media, every time I turn on YouTube or Facebook or whatever app or social media is out there, or the news or what, it's just pure chaos. It's pure nonsense at this point. I'm not, okay, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say it's pure massive. It's not like I go outside and it's just war yet, right? But we're in some real weird times, man. And I'm getting sick of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of, the horrible stuff as far as love and relationships goes. I'm tired of the division and the hate between, brothers of our country. It's all really getting bad, and I'm sick of the facade. I'm sick of the mirage, right? That we all grew up in. Oh, Hollywood's so great. Oh, this sports ball player is so great. It's just Egypt, man. It's just idolatry. You know what I mean? It's just what were they doing in Egypt? They were worshiping idols. They were they were turning themselves into idols. They thought they were gods, And that's how the elites act today. That's how the celebrities act. They think they're gods. And there's some deep, dark stuff that these people do. They contact deep, dark entities that give them powers. Powers of charisma, powers of persuasion, that it factor. You ever just like watch these celebrities and you're like, man, these people, they just have this commanding charisma. There's something about these people that is just so powerful in the way they attract, and that's why they call it the it factor. Either you have it or you don't. Like, I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think I think that whole myth about selling your soul is real. I think people really do that. I think they contact demons and then all of a sudden they get popular. They sell their soul. And whether they do it through a medium, as far as like somebody they know who's an occult member, or somebody like who's in, with these satanic cults, who run Hollywood, and satanic weird stuff going on down there at Bohemian Grove, which is all the government people, and all this, people who are into the Kabbalah, that because that's their religion, the Kabbalah, and it's mixed with all these ancient Egyptian Osiris and all these weird deities that these people, and it's linked to witchcraft. A lot of these women out here are witches. A lot of these famous women that you think are like such great celebrities and such great actresses and singers, they're literally witches. I mean, all this stuff came out. The Bible said things done in the dark will come to the light. I've been studying this stuff for like 15 years now. I really have. I've been studying this stuff for like 15 years. And it's freaking bizarre. And I'm telling you, it's 2025. I've been studying this stuff since like 2009, 2010, when I was first getting on the internet in a deep way and like really starting to read and study. I'm telling you, even today, even this very day, I'm watching videos that blow my mind, where I'm like, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning about this stuff. Yes, it's all the same stuff. It's the occult. They're behind the scenes. They're manipulating. They're ruling, and they're doing all this evil stuff. But it's so layered and it's so complex, because they're doing, not only they're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing that. This is linked to that. That's linked to that. This guy is related to that. That's related to that. This guy did this. It's like this big puzzle, and you put it together and you're like, holy crap. It's like putting together, I guess, a puzzle, or it's like putting together a picture, if you will, somehow, of Satan's kingdom. That's what it is. It's like you put all the pieces together and you're like, well, that's Satan's kingdom. That's how he did it. He used these people to set up this evil thing, and used these people to set up this evil occult group, and this and that. And it's like, it's bananas. It always blows my mind. Always. I'm always like, what in the world? And sometimes I just got to step back and I'm like, man, I cannot even talk about this anymore. Many times in the last 15 years, many times. There's a time, I think it was like 2014, around there, 2013, 2014, where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't keep talking about this stuff, because it's just so depressing. And not only that, people aren't listening. They weren't listening at that time. Now everybody's listening. Now everybody's into conspiracies. Now it's weird. It's bizarre, but it really is bizarre, because I was doing it back then, and people were calling me crazy. They're like, you're a lunatic. You're wasting your time. You're trying to tell everybody all these truths, and no one believes you. And it's like, and then like Alex Jones comes out, and everybody's like, whoa, wait a minute. He's saying some maybe relevant stuff. And I'm not saying Alex Jones is on the level fully, but anyway. And then this happens, and that happens, and this guy comes out, and so it's almost like this progressive steps of like exposing all this stuff to the masses, and now everybody's eating it up, and they're like, yeah, we get it. People are starting to get it, and it's weird. It's like, I didn't really think that was ever going to happen. I wasn't even sure how it was going to go down, but I didn't think the world was going to wake up like they're waking up. People are waking up, and maybe that's God's mercy, so that he can save some people, so that they can come to him and turn to him, because they really need him, because this is scary stuff, man. This is really scary stuff. This is dark stuff. It's satanic. It's demonic. It's, it's evil. It's deep evil stuff. And it's out there, man. And it's and what's crazy is like, you realize like, oh, well, that's why they put out all that pornography. Well, that's why they put out all those evil movies. That's why they put out all that evil music, because they're evil. They're satanic. They're the occult. They're backwards. They believe doing evil is good, and good is evil. It's anyway. When you get into the occult, it's just bizarre, and I wouldn't recommend it necessarily. Like, maybe some light stuff. You could go watch some Mark Dice's old videos, or I don't know, man. It's a rabbit hole that I've admittedly probably spent too much time on, but it's something that I've just casually, hard to say the word casual, I guess casually, but consistently been studying this stuff, I guess. Before 2014, when I kind of stepped away from it, when I kind of made a conscious effort to step away from it. Before that, I was really into it. Like, I was really reading and going down all these rabbit holes. And as you go, you learn. You're like, oh, wait a minute, that conspiracy theory is kind of bullshit. That's not a real one. Like flat Earth or chemtrails. I'm kind of torn on chemtrails, but obviously flat Earth is not real. And they've come up with some bizarre stuff, right? And I think a lot of that's a psyop, so that they can distract people away from real, genuine, legitimate conspiracy theories. But it's all out in the open now. I shouldn't say everybody. A lot of people get it. A lot of people just get it. They understand it. Yeah, we're being ruled by these weirdos across the Atlantic. They've infiltrated our government through lobbying and bribes and probably blackmail. I use that word probably in a kind of ironic. I use that word probably in a rhetorical sense. There we go. So yeah, they got dirt on people. That's what Epstein was all about. I mean, he's just one agent that they had. Doing some blackmail schemes, and they got all our leaders in their pocket. They all got to go to the wall, and they all got to bow down, for sure. So whether you want to mix that up with Judaism or Zionism or whatever have you, they're over there, and these people, this tribe has a lot of power over our Congress, over our, what other world leader comes and just rails at our Congress? It's bizarre. At our Supreme Court, or whatever the hell they were, whatever you call that, when, I hate even saying this guy's name, Netanyahu came over and he was raging about war against Iran or whoever. The guy's just sick. It's just sick. It's so sick, So it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. And what's funny is people are so focused on Trump, and he's obviously the patsy. He's the target. Like, oh, focus on me. I'm the big piece of shit. Well, these evil people over here behind the scenes are, doing the worst stuff. So, I don't know. Where can I go with this? Maybe try to, wrap it up a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, man, there's no conclusion here. The conclusion is that it's going to end, and that's what the Bible says. Read Revelation. It's not a happy ending, man. We don't all run off into the sunset and live happily ever after. I mean, this shit's going to be abrupt. I think in my heart of hearts, I've always felt, since it happened, that COVID was beta testing for the New World Order. It was beta testing to test out people's reactions and to see what they would do, how they would react to complete shutdowns, how they would react to a curfew, how they would react to the government telling them what to do, kind of forcing them what to do, et cetera, right? This is all like part of their plan to implement their, complete control, honestly. So they're looking at our reactions. How did they react? What did they do? Did they band together? Did they, or did they follow our orders? Did they, so yeah, man, it's going. I mean, the stuff is coming to a head, and really, I think they might be trying. Well, okay, so there's this quote from Albert Pike, who was a 33-degree Freemason back in the mid-1800s. Time doesn't matter. Don't look at it like, oh, that was back in the 1800s. Like, no, these people are planning things hundreds of years in advance. This is like the blueprint of blueprints. Like, these are the people who figured out everything. You know, the Illuminati does stem from the Enlightenment period, where all these illuminated guys were persecuted by the church, etc. And some people theorize that these people want to get revenge for that treatment. You know, we've all studied the Enlightenment period and how people like Galileo and, you know, whoever was attacked by the Catholic Church or whatever for practicing science or whatever and all this stuff. So one theory is that these people became the Illuminati, who became the Freemasons, the Skull and Bones, etc., who actually were the pirates at one point. Basically, they became outcasts. They were once brilliant and smart and geniuses or whatever, and then they become outcasts by the Catholic Church or society at that time or whatever, and they want to get revenge. So they became pirates, and then they became Skull and Bones, and they became Freemasons, and then they took over the world. So it you know, these are details, but it's plain to see that that's what's going on. It's plain to see the social engineering. It's plain to see them pulling the strings behind the scenes. It's plain to see them, you know, killing our presidents, you know, manipulating foreign governments, things like that. You know, this stuff has been going on for decades now. I should say over a century now. But Albert Pike, what he said was, the Third World War must be brought about by pitting the Muslims against the Zionists and the Christians, or something like that. To where I'll have to let me Google that real quick. I got another phone here. All right, Albert Pike, and it's a fantastic quote. I've been using it a lot, and the reason why it's important is because that's actually what's going on right now. And he's got a quote on Lucifer as well, because Freemasons are Satanists. So yeah, of course AI is claiming it got debunked and it's a hoax. Don't believe it. He said a third world war will occur between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. There you go. That's exactly what's going on today. 100%. So their plan's working, and that was quoted in the mid-1800s by a 33-degree Mason named Albert Pike. So there you go. That's what they're doing. That's what's happening, and we're right in the middle, you know. And the hope is that, hey, read the Bible, because that's how it's really going to end. There is a happy ending. It's just God's going to come in and wash it all away. The next flood is not going to be with water, is what the Bible says. It says it's going to be with fire. So when God comes the second time, it's going to be with fire. He's going to destroy the world with fire. And then it's going to be, it's all she wrote. It's over, and God's going to come back. And it's going to be the new heaven and new earth. And that's what's happening, man. I mean, like, you can not believe in God, or you can say, put your head in the sand, whatever. But that's the way that it's going. You can't be neutral on a moving train, you know. In this case, you can't be neutral on a moving train because you're not going anywhere. You can't fly to Mars. There's only one Earth, right? So you're in this whether you like it or not. So anyway, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that is what it is. But it's wild, man. It's wild watching it happen because I was hoping that it wouldn't happen until I was older, till I had lived life more, and that's me being selfish, right? Obviously. And I think nobody wants to die. Nobody wants to, I mean, I shouldn't say nobody wants to die. Like, people who are doing well don't want the world to end. Let's just put it that way. But is everybody doing well? Absolutely not, right? So it's not really fair for the people who are not doing well, right? I mean, like, if you really care about people, you care about humanity, you don't want to see suffering, then you would probably want the world to end like that would be the rational decision is I don't want the world to end, right? But did I say that right? I can't remember. I might have messed that up. But the point is that, you know, it's gonna end, and it's unfolding the way the Bible says it would, as well as this guy here, Albert Pike, right? So, it is what it is, man. It's messed up. It's weird, but that's what's happening. Everybody is like running around like chickens with their heads cut off because they're starting to figure out that, you know, Israel's bombing, genociding Palestinian kids, and like, wait a minute, that's not supposed to happen. Wait a minute, Israel's actually doing some messed up stuff. Wait a minute, they're terrorists too, just like you know, Islam. So it's exactly what Albert Pike's quote says. Islam and political Zionism are destroying each other. They're fighting, they're bombing each other every day. So their plan is going swimmingly. So there you go, man. And that's just the truth. There's nothing else to it. That's everybody's watching it, everybody's looking at it, and they're like, what the heck, man? You know, and it's a rude awakening for a lot of people. But I think maybe people are starting to cope with it. Maybe they're getting around to like accepting it and like moving on, or just waiting for the end, you know, I don't know. But at the same time, there's a lot of decline in America. It's getting really bad out there. It's getting really dark. I mean, darker than it's ever been, and it's so messed up, man. Anyway, yeah, I think that's all I got to say about it. For me, it's just a trip to see, like right now, lately, I've been tripping out on MAGA, Trump, and the liberals, because that's what our country's been going through the last couple decades, is this weirdo leftist culture countered by a weirdo righty culture, and they're both extremists. Both sides are extremists, chock full of extremists, and then maybe some moderates, you know, I don't know. But the people who are the craziest are the ones who are yelling the loudest, and they're the ones who are getting the most attention and making the most noise. And it is what it is, man. I hope it gets better, you know, but on the other hand, I hope God comes back so we can get to live in this new life on the new heaven and new earth, however it unfolds. So anyway, I'm going to end it there. I got some things I got to take care of, but I appreciate you guys listening. Stay safe. God bless, man. You know, talk to God. Tell him how you feel. Tell him you're not sure if he's real. Tell him, you know, even if you're like, I don't know if you're real, if I'm talking to you, but if you are real, you know, maybe show me a sign, or maybe just be with me, or maybe like, you know, is Jesus real? You know, like, these things it's important to actually have that dialogue with God, you know, I think, and whether it works or not, you know, that's up to God. As far as, anyway, you know, however it goes, man. But I'm glad I found my peace with God. I'm glad I found the truth, which I believe is the truth, which just is. So Anyway, appreciate you guys listening. Jay Lee, Northwest Podcast. Peace.